And hello, YouTube. How are you doing today? It is me, Leon, aka Bubby, coming at you with a new video. And today we're going to be doing this reaction to. My little brother told me he was a woman in another. No, in our. Oh, no, wait. I read that wrong. My little brother told me he saw a woman in our bathroom. Anywho, let's get this going. You know how it is. The link is going to be in the description down below if you want to see it without my ugly mug in it. So, here we go.
I didn't believe Jakey at first. When he came back from the bathroom, his two long SpongeBob pajamas puddling around his ankles, I was busy watching TV. A Big Bang Theory marathon on E4.
Ew.
I barely heard him calling my name. Max? What is it?
The Big Bang Theory.
There's a woman. Sheldon Cooper said something and laughter erupted from the television, but I missed the joke. For a second, I thought I misheard Jakey. What? There's a woman in the bathroom. I saw her from my reflection when I was doing my teeth. I turned around and looked at Jakey.
Run away and burn the house down immediately.
He's much younger than me. I start my third year of secondary school in December, and Jakey's not even in infants yet. And right then, he looked younger still. His blonde hair was a mess, and his eyes were wide in his face. I could still see a splotch of toothpaste crusted below his bottom lip. What are you on about? What woman? In the bathroom, Max. I saw her behind me when I was doing my teeth. She was watching me. I studied Jake. The age gap between us means there aren't a lot of games we can play together. But one thing we've been doing a lot of lately is trying to make each other jump. Scare each other. I guess I'm to blame, mostly. Ever since Mom and Dad packed us up and moved us out to the country, it's just felt like the perfect setting for it. We used to live in this busy road on the edge of town, but now we're in the middle of nowhere. A little cottage.
I'm putting on my
It's
shoes.
quieter than it was before. Creakier, too.
And I'm sorry for that, guys. I'm getting ready for work. Putting on my shoes.
There are no streetlights on the road outside, and the house is full of weird old furniture and dusty things that looks like it's been here for decades. There are black and white photos on the walls of families who probably died way before Mum and Dad were even born. Anyway, the reason I was studying Jake's face was to see if he'd crack up. I'm pretty good at pulling his leg. I can make something up to spook him and keep my expression totally deadpan. So, he doesn't know if I'm being serious or not. But Jake is still too little to pull it off. When he's trying to make a joke, you know about it. Only this time, I wasn't seeing any of the normal signs. Jakey? I tried to make my voice sound serious, like Mum does when she's giving me a lecture. You know you're not going to scare me, right? I don't get freaked out by all that stuff. Mum and Dad won't be home until after midnight, and all you're going to do is end up spooking yourself. Jakey stared back at me. His face didn't change. My eyes kept getting drawn back to the spot of toothpaste on his chin, as if he'd left the bathroom in a hurry. But Max, I am spooked. He shuffled on the spot and rubbed his arm, stared down at his feet, sticking out from beneath his SpongeBob PJs. When he raised his head a moment later, I thought for a second that he looked close to tears. That was the first thing that stirred the faintest sense of unease in my stomach.
Really?
the look on Jakey's face.
Really?
The second thing was what he said a moment later. She had red on her face. Jakey's voice was a low murmur, like when Mummy has.
Really? What is wrong with you kids? Leave immediately. Oh yeah, they live on the outskirts of town. Oh man. Then they're doomed. They're going to die.
on lipstick, only this was smeared all round her mouth.
Yeah.
Jakey trailed behind me as I left to the lounge. Another thing different about our new house, something I'm still not used to, is that the bathroom is on the ground floor. I'm definitely not a fan of it. It just feels wrong to have to walk downstairs when you get up in the night to pee. The room itself doesn't help either. It's at the back of the house, and it's cold. The wallpaper is damp. As you walk through the door, there's this huge old bathtub on the left, the sink's on the right, and above it is a little single-glazed window that overlooks the woods at the back of the house. The toilet is opposite the door, and above it is this old mirror. It's long and dusty, and the size of myself reflected in the silver glass has made me jump on more than one occasion during a late-night toilet trip. As we crossed the hall and neared the door, Jakey's words drifted back to me. I saw her in my reflection when I was doing my teeth, and then, later, I saw her behind me. I already knew what must have happened. Jakey had been in the bathroom brushing his teeth, and he'd happened to glance up at the mirror. There's an airing cupboard in the corner of the bathroom, just to the left of the door, where we keep our towels.
Leave immediately.
Like the rest of the house,
Leave.
this cupboard is old. The door won't shut properly. My guess was that Jakey had glimpsed the towel, or possibly some of Mum's clothes, hanging up to dry through the crack in the airing cupboard's door. His tired mind had turned these shapes into a woman crouched in the shadows. The kid's only little, but he has a big imagination. He scares easily.
That's what they all
It's probably
say.
my fault. All those times I've hidden behind a wall to make him jump, finally taking their toll. As I came to a stop in front of the bathroom door, I made a mental note to stop scaring him. It had been fun at first, but I couldn't have him freaking himself out over nothing like this. I reached out a hand to push open the bathroom door, but then something made me pause. Another thing Jakey had said to me in the lounge floated back into my mind. She had red on her face, like when Mummy has on lipstick, only this was smeared all around her mouth. That sense of unease stirred in my stomach again. Where had that detail come from? I could see Jakey catching a glimpse of the airing cupboard's shadowy interior in the bathroom mirror and imagining he'd seen a woman hiding in there. That was one thing. But Jakey hadn't just said he'd seen a woman, had he? He described her face. I stared down at the bottom of the bathroom door. Jakey must have left the room quickly because the light inside was still on. A soft yellow glow spilled out from beneath the door and into the hallway. I could hear the bathroom's old extractor fan, a faint whir coming from inside. Apart from that, the hallway was silent. I was suddenly very aware that Jakey and I were alone in the house. Mum and Dad were out. They were miles away, in fact, at a restaurant in town. They wouldn't be back for hours. Max? Jakey's voice was a whisper behind me. Max, I don't want to. Don't make me go back in there. I paused. For a moment, the urge to go back to the lounge, to just hurry back to the light and the glow of the TV, was almost overpowering. The lounge door had a lock on it, a large antique keyhole beneath the doorknob. I knew where the key for that lock was too. It was resting on a wooden bowl on the dresser. Jake and I could go back to the lounge, lock the door, and turn the TV up until Mum and Dad were home. We could even text them and get them to come back a little early maybe. But no, these thoughts had barely had a chance to register in my mind before I dismissed them. I'm almost a teenager now. Mum and Dad said I'm old enough to be home alone for the night, big enough to look after Jakey. How was it going to look if they came back to find us both hiding in a locked room just because I was too scared to put the kid's mind at ease? I stepped forward and pushed the door open. As it swung inwards, I tensed myself, the muscles in my legs bunched up, ready to run. The bathroom was empty. The off-white tub sat large and immovable against the wall to my left. Over to my right was the window and the sink. Jakey's toothbrush lay at an angle next to the tap, Colgate still clinging to the bristles. I stared at the dusty old mirror in front of me. Sure enough, from my vantage point in the doorway, I could see the airing cupboard over on the left. The door was open a few inches. I could just make out the shadow of a purple towel hanging up to dry through the crack, but nothing else. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding and stepped into the room. Oh, Jakey, there's nobody in here. You probably just caught a glimpse of that purple towel in the cupboard and spooked yourself. That's all. Staring into the mirror above the toilet, I caught his eye in the reflection. Then I gestured towards the airing cupboard's door. See? No, Max. I expected Jakey to sound calmer, but his voice came out thin and scared. His eyes were still just as wide too. You're looking in the wrong place. I saw her there. And he reached out with his right arm and pointed. I followed the direction of his finger. Now, I don't normally frighten easily. I'm not a jumpy person, never have been, and I can sit through horror films. Me and my friends even watch ones that are rated 18 on sleepovers without then giving me nightmares. But in that moment, as I followed the direction of Jakey's finger and finally realized what he'd seen, I felt the worst surge of fear I'd ever felt before in my life. Heat bloomed in my face. My skin felt hot and prickly. As I ushered Jakey out of the bathroom and back to the lounge as quickly as I could, my hands were shaking. My first instinct was to run, to just get Jakey and make a dash out of the front door, then keep running until we reached the house of our closest neighbor. But I quickly dismissed that idea. In the end, I sat Jakey on the sofa in front of the TV, made sure the front door of our house was locked, and then shut the door to the lounge. I turned the heavy key in the lock. After that, I pulled out my phone to call my dad. I kept pressing the wrong buttons on the screen because my fingers were trembling so badly. Jakey's only little. He's learning new words all the time, and sometimes he uses them in an awkward way or struggles to make himself understood. He said he saw the woman over his shoulder when he was brushing his teeth. He said he saw her in his reflection. It was only when he told me I was looking in the wrong place that everything clicked. Because when he held out his finger to show me where he'd seen the woman's face. He wasn't pointing in the bathroom mirror at all. He was pointing at the small, pitch-black window that hovers above our bathroom sink, like an eye.
Oh God! Oh God! That was a really good story. It made me get goosebumps and stuff. Well, oh God. It gave me goosebumps and everything. Oh man. Oh God. Oh no, 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 no. Okay. Enough playing around. This has been Leon, aka Bubby, and I need to go to work. And I'll make another video later today so you guys can see all the horror inducing fear, nightmare stuff that I have planned. I'm not a good storyteller, but I'm happy they have these YouTube channels and stuff like that. So, have a great day. This has been Leon, aka Bubby. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.